And we're live.
Hooray!
Hi, everyone.
Oh, man.
Welcome to the New Moon Chat. This month, we're going to deal with some Gemini energy. And an element, since we've started this, you think we've gone through all the elements. This is the air element. Very interesting one. And just to get us started, I'll go through some of the system of correspondences, and I like to do the tarot every day. So I've pulled an oracle card, a tarot card. So get that and let that like launch us off. Now, I'm using Egyptian tarot right now.
What is it? It's hard to see clearly.
Does this help a little?
It's just a little pixelated. Can you explain what it is?
Yes, I'll explain. So this is Egyptian tarot. So this is Isis setting on a boat for a chariot. And this is all about I desire. This is about her actively searching in a very protective environment. And she's doing this with confidence, and she's using her intuition as well. So this is about being very introspective and this desire, like having this desire and knowing where to go with it. And I love that this is occurring during this Gemini moon, a time of communication, utilizing the throat chakra, having that confidence and also that social ability, because it's more than just speaking, it's having that introspection, that confidence, that thoughtfulness of knowing when to speak and to do it in a very social environment. This is the Church of Light, the Brotherhood of Light tarot deck, and it's a little bit different. That she's really what it boils down to is she's the Queen of Cups, and that's always about an influencer over emotions. All right, so that gets us started there.
I love it.
What's at the bottom of that? What's the two things on the bottom?
A heart and cups. Yeah, she's the Queen of Cups. I mean, the Queen of Cups. I'm sorry, the Queen of Hearts or Cups. You know, whether it's like a regular deck or a tarot deck, it's one and the same.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. And then a few of the other system of correspondences. I brought lots of blue agate. So blue's kind of our influencer color. And then I've set up, I can't see the way I have this, but I've set up a lot of the blue agate, the blue lace. I love those. They're very light color. And then east is our direction. And been working with a lot of animal energy recently. So the wolf and the raven are the ones that correspond with us. The air element, I mentioned that. So if you think of it, since we've started this is our fourth new moon chat. We have started with fire of the Aries, and we've gone through each element. So we will do this throughout the year. We'll do this 4 different times. So this is our first air element that we'll be talking about. So really good for quick wit. Made a note of that I thought of you immediately, Jennifer. This is your time. And then a few other things, blueberries. So talking about that blueberries, peppermint, lavender. These are really good elements to use natural, whether it's in an herbal form or essential oil. And numbers. I've got 2 numbers for us to focus on, and that's the number 5 and the number 8. And that concludes our system of correspondences for our moon and sun. Okay, who wants to start?
You just want us to share.
I'll go.
What? Oh, yeah. Please do.
Yeah.
Just reviewing all of this stuff. And, you know, like now is a big time of growth for me, I feel like, because of the website and finishing up my health coaching and everything. It's like just every day it's like.
By the way, congratulations on completing your nutrition course.
Ooh. Well, that's only I'm not done yet. I've still got a ways to go. I was looking, it's like 90. So it's like that 90-day push, you know, I've got to, I finished my 3rd test and there's 4 and then.
That's
we'll
what
be
it was. Okay. I know you completed a big,
Yeah. Yeah.
that it was over. Okay.
Yes.
Congratulations.
No. No, but like the whole thing about branding, really energetically putting myself out there, which is not always the most comfortable, but really working on that and you know, where it is that I wanted to do. And it's just really interesting to like being aware, like that's what I was, the awareness, like being in Mercury right now and awareness. And I'm like, okay, just starting to look at life and just where's the connection and how is that going? And yet realizing that it's right here. It's everything is just one step in front of the other. Just do the action that it takes to be successful all the way for others. And so the whole ISIS thing, like, so you know how on Facebook they have those cards and you can take a screenshot of it. And it was and I did the ISIS. I was like, oh, okay. And then when you pulled it today, I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. That just and plugging into things that I know will help me be better is really focusing and trying to find those systems and rituals that my life has been lacking because of my other career. You know, being able to have a flowing life, which I love, but I also know we need systems and processes that help things go more smoothly. So trying to, at 51, incorporate systems like that in my life has just been a little bit of a challenge, but I'm so up for it and so glad to be collaborating with women like you and other people that just are really I want to be in life and making it more comfortable. So
I have a question for you.
I don't know. I got tons more to add, but I'll stop there.
I have a question, Kathy.
Sure.
So just listening to you talk and everything, when you got to the point of talking about putting yourself out there and making a name for yourself, you started clearing your throat and you didn't at any other time.
Right.
So it's interesting. I wanted to ask you, and this is actually something in therapy yesterday. I had that happen and my therapist was like, if your throat could say something, what would it say? And I wanted to ask you that with your throat in regards to marketing yourself, since this is all about communication and putting ourselves out there.
Okay. Yeah, I've noticed that too, really, because working with the throat chakra and everything else, like I'm using my sprays every day and just really, you know, I think that's the grounding part for me is to already recognize that I'm being grounded, but yet grounded and vocal at the same time. And so, yeah, just step into my truth and be able to share it without down. And I don't know, it's just different. My girlfriend was over the other day and talking to her what's happening at our home, and just came out and said, I've been practicing spell work. And I was like, felt really weird when I said that. And yet it also was like a big, like coming out moment, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So, you know, really, and that's part of like the branding and everything else. It's like, you know, how do I want to word it? What do I want to do? You know, what really message? Because I've got so many things to share, and yet how do I present that so that that I'm the happiest? You know, because I just think that's what it all is all about, and you know,
So more of a
sharing
focus
that part.
on your happiness than how it's perceived by someone else.
Correct. Yeah, I'm taking all that off of the plate. Like it's so, I mean, just conversations that I've been having lately have just been, it's so obvious. All that early programming just has to go, you know, like Mo and Jen, you know, everything that y'all are sharing is just, it's time. It's just time to just let it go and step into our own that influence us. I mean, it has to influence us just because recognize it and let it go. But into that feeling and stepping into, you know, but being able to teach it. And that's where the systems and that kind of thing come in. That, you know, it's like, I don't even know where to start, but yet I'm finding my way. So, you know, it's happening.
Very cool.
Kim, I feel like you and I have been doing that for a few years.
That coming out. Yeah.
Yes, like truly, and Jen, I know you're doing the same thing. It's just about refining the message and the mission and really making sure that what you're doing is in alignment with your happiness.
Yeah, and I think part of that is like what Kathy was saying of doing the next right thing. Because as much as we want to know what Z is when we're at A, we've got to go through the alphabet to get there. So it's a matter of being like, okay, this is what feels right to share today. And I found for me, it's a lot of just little course corrections. So I did a lot of oversharing when I first, after my awakening, because I was just like, I want to tell everyone all the things. And then I went to the opposite end of the pendulum and did a lot of undersharing, which is where I isolated, I shut off social media, I hid for a few months. And so now I'm settling into what feels a little better. The only way to figure out what our happiness is and what that balance is to keep doing it and to allow ourselves grace to kind of mess up, or that wasn't quite right, or that felt really good, and just listening to our intuition, like in that card.
I definitely think there's something to that because, you know, for me, when I first kind of embraced the understanding that I have been working with in regards to the food that I eat and deciding to remove animals from my diet, like I made it a huge deal on social media. And I had some friends like Kim, you know, who's really the majority of her diet has focused that direction for a long time. And I have a few other friends as well. And, you know, I knew that it was getting like super annoying to some people, but I was just at that point where I didn't care, you know, like you're going to listen to this. And I knew it was funny because literally, you know, it went from getting a whole bunch of feedback to nothing. So I think a whole bunch of people just muted me. And I was still doing it. I'm like, bam, 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 bam. You're going to read this, you know?
Hey, Mo, I have a housekeeping moment. Kathleen wants on the call. Can you email her an invitation again, please?
I can resend the link. That's what I did with you guys. So let me do that right now.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And a quick question for the people who are watching that don't know who we are. Would it be beneficial for us to go through and say, hi, my name is blah, and I do blah? You know?
I know, we never do that. We should say hello.
Hi, I'm Jen. I'm a writer and a painter. Okay. Next.
Hi, my name is Kimberly. I am an introvert. No, I do a little bit of everything. So I am definitely into, perfect. I'm definitely into spell work, and I like to connect dots.
Ooh, I like that.
That's funny. That's my tagline.
That was set up for you.
Yeah. I'm Kathy. I'm happy to be here.
I'm Mo, and I feel like I do a lot of things, but right now what I really want to say is that I'm super excited about focusing on exactly what I have in front of me and taking some things that have been in the incubator for a long time that have taken a ton of patience, that you know, just taking everything to the next level, and the dedication and the patience that I'm learning is a new level of strength, and I'm excited about that.
Awesome.
That's not a what I do, but that's what I feel like I'm doing right now.
Oh, great.
So I sent that link to her.
A fun exercise. Think about who you are, describing who you are without using things you've done in the past or any type of specific, like I am animal nutritionist. I've worked at, X, Y, and Z company. I've done this for so long, but actually describe the essence of who you are and not putting tangible, concrete identities on yourself. That's a fun. Yeah.
That was the case, then mine will be I bridge communication gaps. That is just a thing that I do. It is the essence of my being. I'm here to do that in all kinds of ways.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. Fun.
I wonder how many people actually get together and do stuff like this. It would be interesting to see, because I reached out to so many people before, and just, I think it's a foreign concept to a lot of people to really go in, and especially having a group of people that should do it with,
Right.
Just opening up. All the messages that I get recently have just been so interesting. Like my studies this week were actually last week was about the throat chakra, and where you would get together with another person or simply do the mirror work and growl at yourself, get deep with, what it feels like and how you can really open your throat by doing that, by getting rid of some anger. And it's such an uncomfortable thing for most people. You just don't think, like, just growl at somebody or growl at yourself or whatever, but yet how powerful it is. And I love that gazing in people's eyes, or, like I said, your own, or just any type of really looking within, how important that is. And I love that we're doing this.
Kathy, that's a really good exercise for the new moon. The new moon, we want to just really meditate and contemplate and, not take any big action. That would be a really good exercise to stare at yourself in the mirror, have a conversation with yourself, look yourself in the eye, and talk truth to yourself.
Yes, I think so. Absolutely.
So I have a little story about that.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I had a crush on this boy, and they used to come over and visit. And I used to be able to divine when he would show up by calling him in the mirror. So I'd go over to the mirror and I'd look at my eyes. I'd stare directly at my eyes, and my focus was to make my cheeks rosy. So I was pretty. I was like maybe 5 or 6 when I was doing this. And so I actually, in a mirror meditation, I remembered that. So I was able to kind of create a little bit of a time loop there by remembering me on that side and then now being me on this side.
Ooh,
so I think
that's fascinating.
It was, I call it two-way communication. It's two-way circuitry. And it really does help you understand that time, even though we're stuck in it and we're moving forward, there are also other ways with the imagination and the mind and, this other part of being that's not the body, to go to different places and experience other parts of self. So mirror work, yes, is very powerful.
Does everyone have a mirror? I mean, I keep one on my altar. Like, I have my mirror that I talk to. I mean, yes, getting ready in the morning and whatever, and in a big bathroom mirror, but I mean a specific mirror that stays with you for this communication.
Yes, magic mirror.
Yeah.
I do not have a magic mirror. I've never heard of this. I've only ever used a bathroom mirror, and I have.
We'll get one now. It's going to be so pretty.
Whoa.
There's my pretty magic mirror.
Gorgeous.
Nice.
She's very pretty, isn't she?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes. But she stays with me all the time. She's always part of the altar. She's always in the corner of the altar.
Here's mine.
Do any meditations? She's involved. Yes. Oh gosh, you've had that mirror for so long. That's awesome.
Mo, you got to talk so we can see it.
Okay. I got to talk?
You have to talk, otherwise the
Okay. Yeah.
chat will video someone else.
I write words on here when I need to manifest stuff. And yeah, so I have had this mirror for a very long time.
Cool.
I have a nice one, but it's in the other room. I'm out in my outside office. So, but I got it this year and I was like, I love that, because just really being intentional. This is the 2018 is a year of intention and action.
All right, Jen, you have to find your mirror.
I do. I'm excited.
I found mine at a garage sale, but you can like the thrift stores and stuff.
Yeah.
You can get something that has a little age. Of course, you have to, do your cleansing of it and all that.
Yeah. The notes that I have for the new moon chat so far are doing things for my happiness rather than for the expected outcome of others. Growl. So this is what we got so far. Keep it going. It's good stuff.
Good. I'm glad you're taking it.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, here, hang on. So going back to that, the growling, it actually works in cleansing your liver too, because it works with the anger. So that's just a little side caveat of that, maybe increasing our water intake and actually working on flushing our mirror as we're doing this might be something else to do.
Love it.
Half your body weight in ounces per day. Try to do it for, as long as you can, but just most people are dehydrated. So, that little piece of addition could really make a difference for us. I think the whole thing is just, it's all good.
I have a water bottle beside me at all times.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I'm so bad about drinking enough water. So really just, making that conscious effort makes a big difference. And anytime I can incorporate it with something like this would just, makes me happy.
Here's something in your classes, Kathy, that I'm interested in about, speaking of water. There's always that school of thought where water in, let's say, tea doesn't count. Those how many ounces a day do they suggest?
Half your body weight in ounces. That's the latest. It used to be 8 glasses a day, but really because everybody's all different sizes, they just say that kind of rule of thumb now.
Okay. So does it count if you have a glass of tea?
Yes. Yes,
okay.
but not like Cokes and different things like that. You really, it should be, because tea is mostly water based. That's what you're looking for. Seltzer water or anything that would add to you.
Oh, so even seltzer water. Because that messes with your hydrogen and liver and.
Yes, yeah, but it still counts. So
still counts. Okay, all right. Well, that's good to know. All right.
So who's next, and what are we talking about?
I'm kind of afraid to try because I'm not sure you guys are going to be able to hear me because my computer's doing all kinds of weird stuff. So can you hear me?
I haven't had a single issue in hearing you thus far.
Nice. That's amazing. Okay. Because my screen is doing all kinds of weird stuff still. I'll talk. Okay. So I've been doing some serious work on finding my voice. And I did a San Pedro psychoactive trip with a shaman who sat and worked with me. And, I do psychedelics at regular intervals. It's usually like maybe 2 times a year max. and it's in a sacred space, setting intention, and it's, you know, for the purpose of going into the psyche, and kind of finding new bits of information that are ready to be bubbled up and dealt with. So in that trip, I went to, it was amazing after I came out of it to really see the two different events that were brought to my attention and the work that was done with them. But in talking about using your voice, the basis of the process was, what do you feel in your body? What is, give words to the sensation, and then tell me about the first time that you felt that feeling, kind of thing. So it took me to, again, time traveling back into the past. And in that first event, I was asked to name all of the people that were in the sequence and then give them a voice. So how this person felt, how that person felt, how that person felt, how that person felt, and then how I felt. And then that the me of that point in time, and then coming into the future self, which is me, who I am right now, and bringing resolution to the event. So this is this exercise is actually part of neuro-linguistic programming, and then we went. My body actually took us. I had a burning in my throat. Literally, like I could feel my throat like closing up. I was like, and he's like, what was the first time you felt that? And instantly it took me to a whole nother place. And again, we did the same thing. Give voice to myself, give voice to every single person in the story, and then, you know, bring my higher self into it and bring resolution to the situation. So after I had gone through these two different storylines, then I was asked to resonate at the emotional frequency that the first event and the emotional frequency that the last event triggered in me, and bring them together and give them a voice together. And every time that I did that, I could feel it welling up in me, and I wanted to let it overwhelm me. And then it was like, bring yourself back to the future self. Don't forget, you have two parts of self. You know, you can access both parts to control the situation. My arm starts twitching like this, like super fast. And I'm looking at it going, whoa, what's that? My whole, like this whole right side of my body started shaking 2 different times. And so then as I felt the emotion, it was, he made me scream into a pillow. And he's like, scream into the pillow. And I went, and he's like, no, that's not going to work. And I literally couldn't find my scream. Like I can scream when I am inspired. And I just couldn't for the life of me find it. And what he said was that I was doing the self-soothing of feeling the emotion, neutralizing it, grounding it, releasing it. And so instead of allowing the voice to scream, I was swallowing it and sending it down into my body and letting it go. And la, 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 we don't want to feel this, right? So after a series of, you know, and he was so kind and gentle, screaming with me in the pillow, and I felt like a little child, and pillow punching. And finally I found my scream. And then the whole conclusion of the event was understanding that power that I felt in the scream is the power that's in my body. And it does not need to be attached to these old storylines. That I have that power, and I can assign anger or happiness or whatever it is, but that power is mine. It is not on pause or stuck in the past. And so it's a very specific body emotion that I'm still working somatically with to bring up and experience without being triggered by negative stories in the present that reflect that, you know, circuitry that had been messing me up. So, and I feel like I have a really great grip on it. and I'm super happy today.
Awesome.
Yay!
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
How long
Yeah.
did that process take?
It was a
Like
6-hour sit. 6
Sorry,
hours.
say that again.
So I got there at 10 in the morning. We set intentions. I had a book. So the first page was setting intentions. And then the next page was commitments. And then the next page was action steps with very specific dated, timed, you need to have this done by this time. So it's the whole process of, written documentation as magic. And so at the beginning, I took the medicine and I wrote down my intentions. And then we went through the whole, there's a going up period, and then there's a peak period, and then there's a drop. So the going up period was really finding all of the storylines that we were going to address. And then when I was at the peak, that was when it was working through the body issues, the screaming and the pillow punching. And then the descent was after I had kind of released that power in my body. And that power is actually solar to chakra, solar plexus to chakra, sacral chakra, right in between there, right in the womb area. And I can literally, I've given it a name. I'm talking to it. I'm negotiating with it. And I'm learning to be present with it without it being any specific emotion, just experiencing it as power instead. So then the descent, so the whole thing was about 6 hours. And afterwards I had a nice little snack, and I took a nap.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Was it just the two of y'all, or was there more?
Just two.
Nice.
Yeah. So it was intense, and but it was exactly what I needed. They say with psychedelics, if you're doing it in the right environment, the correct plant medicine and the correct intention with someone that is trustworthy, etc., that you can do years of therapy in just a few hours or days. And I have seen that be true. And that's not true for everyone, but I think because some of the things that I had to deal with were so extreme, they took me, those events in my childhood took me to a point of hallucinating. There were times in my childhood where I was so detached from situations that were taking place that I was in a state of hallucination, where I could see myself physically and I was the observer. I wasn't experiencing. So going back into that, fifth dimensional perspective to fix the situation and, bring some resolution energetically has been very good. And I think that, that's really the direction that plant medicine needs to be used, or, that kind of thing in general. There are some psychiatrists that are doing studies right now with plant medicine for the purpose of, legalizing. And we're probably pretty far off from that. But I think with true clinical trials happening now, it could happen faster. So we'll see.
It makes so much sense to have a guide too. Like that's, I think, can be a huge benefit.
Oh yeah, he knew exactly what he was doing. We had hours of interview before the event, and had met like 3 times in person, and had like a contract in place, and he had a good understanding of where I'm coming from, and because I could see him using some techniques, like, we were on the phone for a lot of these conversations, and he was taking notes, and he would repeat back to me what I said verbatim. That's how fast he was typing. So, he was able to take my words specifically from those interview conversations and apply them during the event, because those were my words for me to bring me to the right place.
Beautiful.
So, am I on pause? Can you hear me?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I was just taking it all in. I'm like, that just sounds
Oh.
amazing all around.
That's some serious work.
especially with the preparation work around it. It's very, very thoughtful.
Yeah.
And having the shaman there with you, I don't know. I'm like, that just seems like it's incredibly powerful in so many ways for you. So I'm excited to see how it progresses for you.
Yeah.
You know, how this shows up in your life. Because I know with healing work that I do, anytime that I become aware of a story or detach from a story, it resonates in some sort of quantum magical way throughout different areas of my life where I realize, oh, this has shifted now, and this has shifted now. You know, this relationship has shifted. So it'll be really interesting to see how it ripples out for you.
I've seen an incredible amount of ripples already. You know, I feel like I'm finally really connecting again to my creative muse. And, you know, I guess that's the process, right? You go out, like you were saying, Jen, you have like a burst that you want to share with everyone. And then once it's done, you have to kind of stop and go, okay, now what? And then you go quiet again and you go inside and you go into, you know, the germination mode, and then you have another level. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Very.
So that concludes.
This is going to be interesting to see how, you know, now that we're focused on particular times of getting together, you know, we're only doing it at new moons, and we're only doing it, you know, each one having a different element that we're focused on, to see how what you just said interacts with the natural rhythm of the universe in general. You know, this is that time for the communication, for the air element, for the social communication. And then, you know, next month we turn around and do our fire again. When we lose our energy and when we're connected to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And if it's really connected to our own personal sun sign, or if it's different, if it's just different phases in our life. No. See, connecting dots, studying the different things. I'm connecting dots. Here's a note I've got to take.
Connecting dots is one of the funnest things. When you have those personal epiphanies that may not feel just amazing to other people, but you have it and you're just like, it makes your day, you know, when you can find some little pearl of truth and, you know, kind of just chew on it all day.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a special blessing, you know, and that takes focus. Like if you're not focusing on creating that reality where the universe is dropping you, you know, wisdom, then you won't get it. But it's that, you know, process. And I have been journaling, dream journaling,
Nice.
journaling every day. That was my commitment. That was my action step commitment, was to do, you know, and the day that we were talking about that, remember, we were like, okay, maybe we can start doing little videos and we can respond to each other's videos and all that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was the day that I had made that commitment to journal. So.
And you've been doing videos too.
I have been doing videos. It's like I can't do it fast enough. Like my phone keeps getting clogged up.
Social communication. And Jen, you've been writing. It's been amazing.
Thank you.
So inspirational, so beautiful.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's been interesting to experience the just transformation of how I look at mental health and emotional states that I used to call depression or suicidality. And just the last 4 years have been this amazing healing journey all around that, and how I really lived a lot of my life in this victimhood mentality, where when in that place of I want to die, that is the reality. Like I've been given so many visuals around this because I'm writing a book about an attitude adjustment on suicidality. I've got 42,000 words out of my goal is 55,000. So it's just like pouring out of me. It won't stop. Like I try to go pee and I have to bring a notebook with me. I'm writing down. Today I was in a meeting at my office job and I was like looking at them and I'm like, yeah, uh-huh. Meanwhile, taking notes. But I've been given lots of analogies and visuals because of course I'm going to doodle in the books. I love doodling. And one is that a person on the outside, or let's say the person experiencing the alarms going off or wanting to die, it feels like drowning. It's like all-encompassing drowning. Meanwhile, the person on the outside looks and sees a person in a kiddie pool just sitting there going, ah, ah, and they're just like, what's wrong with you? Like, the person on the outside is like, I see so clearly that you're not actually drowning. You're actually sitting in a kiddie pool and the water comes up to like your butt. You're actually okay. But both realities are the same, are existing. Both realities are true for each person. And so, years ago, after I had my spontaneous awakening, I went and visited the Akashic records. I didn't know what they were. Someone mentioned about it and I said, okay. I just closed my eyes and I was like, oh, I'm there. And I was shown that my purpose in this life is to bridge the communication gap. Bridge the communication gap. And I was like, between what? What? And I did animal communication for a while. I connected people with spirit guides. I did channeling. I tried all these different ways of bridging the gap and nothing quite clicked until where I am now, which is bridging the communication gap between people who experience darkness in the way that I have and people who don't. And on the other end of it, for the people who do experience darkness or they experience the very, very hypersensitive people that experience the low lows and high highs, to bridge the communication gap between the person they are when they're at their low lows and then their consciousness about the high highs. Because it really feels like two different people. And now there are some people who are like, oh, that's bipolar disorder. It's borderline personality disorder. It's blah, 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 all these labels.
Oh no, she froze.
I thought we all did for a second.
But
Oh.
her camera works the best of all of ours as far as like clarity.
There you are.
It's a new laptop. Am I back? I started getting passionate and then all of a sudden those vibes are coming.
Why the computer reacted like that? It couldn't take it.
Yeah. Yesterday I was at the chiropractor and he adjusted something in me and it made me feel woozy. And so I stood up and I started shaking and all of his lights started flickering. I was like, whoa. I was like, hey, sorry about that. Sorry. I'm just getting regrounded. Everything's okay.
Just don't call the lightning, okay?
Yeah. So anyway, I'm not sure where it cut off, but ultimately it's I'm learning that I'm here to bridge the communication gap between the different aspects of ourselves, the ones that might experience the darkness and are in that storm and have the blinders on and can only see the storm, and then those who snap out of it. Because for me, when I've snapped out of it, I look back and I'm like, oh, I'm fine. I see now what was really going on. It's going to be fine. I don't really want to kill myself. But then I get back to those dark points, those low points, and that my reality totally shifted. And I'm like, F that bitch, that Miss Sunshiny bitch. I've been this unhappy all along. That's reality right now, And so really bringing in a lot of analogies, really simplifying this thing that has become this buzzword of suicidality and depression, taking that and just breaking it down into different ways to look at it, removing the taboo around it, also not calling it depression or suicidality anymore. Like I'm learning to call it peaks and valleys or ebbs and flows or ups and downs.
Deep rest.
What? Deep rest. Yeah, get your deep rest on. Depression. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
quick question, Jen. Is this so how you have how many words right now?
42,000.
Okay, and how long have you been writing?
This book, about 2 months.
Okay. Have you incorporated some awesome humor into it since our last?
Oh yeah. Yes, there is the humors.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm writing it, there's got to be a little bit of, some
Yeah.
inappropriate.
Yeah.
The silly doodles and whatnot. So my personality is very much in it, and that I hope will help remove the taboo even more, because I feel like most books written on the topic are very prescriptive, from doctors or from professionals on it, and I'm just like, yeah, dude, like I'm a master because I've been in it. Like I've spent my 10,000 hours learning all about this and experiencing it, and sitting in my shit and sitting in my victimhood, and here's what I've learned. And I'm just hoping that it can be helpful to people who are in it or people who don't know what it's all about.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah, it feels right. It feels like it will. And I'm just trusting it. And it's not yet totally cohesive, the book. It is the book in this case, where it's not organized, but I'm not stressing myself out about that right now. Like what Kathy was saying, I'm just doing the next right thing. Like I'll just start writing a thing, and I'm like, this is going to fit somewhere, and I just throw it in a Microsoft Word document. And eventually, I know that once I'm done with the writing phase, I will receive whatever download it is, or be in alignment, or whatever fancy words I want to use to do the editing process, and it'll just very quickly, easily go into place. I know it will. So I know it'll be done before fall, and I'm excited to see where that goes. Because I don't think there's been a book written like that.
All right, we're here to support you
Thank you.
in every way. What about the channeling thing? Still want to do some channeling?
Honestly, it feels like the book is channeled. It's channeled from different aspects of myself, and then I imagine there's some channeled from guides or universal intelligence or whatever it is. So I don't really feel called. It's not I don't feel called to one-on-one sessions. Part of me thinks that I should do one-on-one sessions.
Yeah.
But I feel called to do workshops. I feel called to do lectures, to work on some webinars, to work on videos that can be shared with a larger scope of people rather than just one-on-one.
Okay.
And sometimes, thanks for the thumbs up. I saw it.
Yeah.
Granted, sometimes I have people reach out, like I have a friend that's going through a divorce and her animals are struggling with it. So she's like, hey, can you do an animal communication session with my animals? And I'm like, of course. And if a friend's like, hey, I'm going through this weird thing with my boyfriend, can you like help me know what's actually going on? And I intuit what's going on. I'm fine doing that, but I don't want it to be my make a living off of doing one-on-one sessions. That feels like really claustrophobic to me personally.
Yep.
So those are my realizations.
Yeah, it's very taxing when you're working with people individually. And when you were talking and you said, I knew you were going to say no. I don't think I'm being called to channel right now because I'm channeling the book. And what I saw as you're saying that is that there will be a larger audience, and I do think at some point there may be sessions that you're doing, but it's going to be when there's a much larger audience.
Yeah.
Because the kind of people that you're looking for they're at a very specific place in their spiritual growth and practice, and people that are on a different place in their process, you don't want to have to be the one kind of pulling them along. You need someone who can stand in equal opposition and basically just receive the codes that you have.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I feel like I'm doing with the coach that I've been working with. I coach NLP shaman guy. Because he's, it's not easy work, and he's not, he's gentle and kind, but he's extremely direct. There's no kid gloves,
That's great. I want to get to that. I'm working really hard to get to that.
And you will.
Correct.
100%.
Yeah. And that ties into codependency, which I actually looked up the queen of Cups. And when it's pulled in reverse, it ties into emotional insecurity and codependency. And so I think that's interesting that that came up for me, because that's what it's all about, is when I have a truth to tell someone, if I adjust it at all to what I think they want to hear, that's me trying to control this person. And that's codependency, right? It's a lack of faith in myself and in that person. Because I'm saying, oh, you can't handle your emotions, so let me make this easier for you. And it's like, that's a disservice.
Yeah.
I'm learning that. Yeah, that's my update and stuff. I've got plenty more to say. I'll talk for another 3 hours.
Well, we are at an hour.
Okay.
So is there anything top of mind that we absolutely need to cover?
Kathy was dealing with throat clearing. Throat clearing is something that I've been dealing with as well. And then Mo, in your shamanic journey, you dealt with burning and stuff, or that closing off in your throat. So that seems to be a common theme. Kimberly, is that something you've experienced, and what can we do around this area, since we have, grown up and full of all these stories of we need to stay small? Like, how do we get rid of this bullshit?
Yep.
Yeah, I think our friend Isis can help with this right now. And talking about this, a few things came up over this last month, and I was keeping a little journal for us and for this topic a little bit. And one of them that kept coming up is this, in my mind, I kept picturing it, and we've touched on this before, is as you continuously do work, how sometimes it feels like you're on a spiral staircase and you go to different frequencies. And sometimes in communication, I've worked on communication and the throat chakra now for 1.5 years, almost exactly. It's been a serious focus. And how in doing so and trying to get my word across, in the beginning, a lot of it was listening. It was not necessarily about getting my point across. It was hearing what the other person, mirroring their energy at that time to have that proper conversation. That took a long time, and it's still going to continue to take some more time to really hone in on that, because that's a skill, I think. And it's changed some this year. It's changed, and I've really noticed it in this past month, of it being more along the lines of not having that frustration if it's wrong, if I can't mirror that energy, if I can't connect, if that communication is not going properly. Instead of being frustrated and pissed off, it's totally fine. Every now and then, a couple of occurrences happen with Monique and I would just respond. And this isn't to her. This is with someone else that we're communicating with. I would just respond, ass, and move on. I wouldn't be upset. Like, that was my response. It was like, there's no reason to even have another conversation about this. We're done. But notice, and I guess the real focus of all of this is that on the spiral staircase to different frequencies of my throat chakra, of my communication skills, there's still connections that are almost, it feels sometimes as though it's pulling me back and pulling me down, those tests in this reality. And I feel, especially over the last month, probably 6 months to be completely accurate, of so much growth and so much depth in my interactions with communication, whether it be with work, with family, with myself, with other sentient beings, with for example, this past month with someone that has passed over, a couple of people, animal and human, with all of these communications are so much easier now, without frustration, without, and frustration is the key word. That's what it would be, a frustration. Hence why I wanted it to be an intention and a focus. So it feels good to shed that, and it feels good to share that right now.
That is incredibly helpful. Thank you for sharing that. Listening is the biggest thing. I'm like, oh, throat chakra. It's not all about output. It's also about input.
Yes.
Listening comes to mind for me. I remember when I would do women's circles and that sort of thing the first couple of times, I would be so focused on what I was going to say. And not because I wanted to like sound cool, but like I was worried about what these people thought of me, you know?
Yeah.
As opposed to sitting there, shutting that off and truly listening to each individual person and giving them my undivided attention and trusting that whenever it's my time to share, whatever's going to come out. And like what you said, if it doesn't come out in this beautiful, fluid, witty way, it's really not the end of the world. You know, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
I wrote really big, listening. So I've got growl, growl, mirror, finding voice, feeling in body and giving words to, hour underlined a whole lot, giving voice again, and then listening. So I think that wraps it up. I mean, that's very clear.
Add some water
in
there.
Yes. Awesome. So that's something we can do then moving forward is focus on listening and then focus on not being frustrated if a conversation doesn't go the way we want or if maybe we don't word something the way that we want. Because I think that's a lot of what my is. I think it's fear-based, it's frustration, it's, oh no, what if I don't say the right thing? So
what if they don't understand me? What if I'm not understood?
Yeah. So letting go of that. Because there have been times when people have shared something with me and they were at a higher frequency than me or different. They're at a different place in their life. They said something to me. And when they said it, I'm like, that doesn't resonate at all. Like you are wrong. And then a year later, I'm like, oh, damn. And you know, so even if someone doesn't understand me when I'm saying something to them, I don't have to go, oh, never mind. I didn't. Blah, blah, blah. I don't have to do that. It's just gonna be like, oh, well, you understand it or you don't. Onward I stride. So that's very helpful. I had this conversation today so I could get that note right there. So thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. That's
So I have
been interesting. These old frequencies and you know the mirroring of my old self has been a big deal. And something happened on the full moon, this past full moon, that really took me out of, well, one, I realized I couldn't communicate. I will not communicate. I knew better than to communicate. One, I would think I would growl, which we know is good now, but I knew I would growl at somebody and possibly bite them. But it was this true disconnection with everything. Let me see how I wrote it down in my note. A true disconnection with current business models of all aspects of life. So I don't mean business as a normal business, just the way we interact in general.
like the script.
Totally finding a new way in every aspect of life. As fast as technology is moving, it's kind of what I was feeling. Like I was even researching what futurists were talking about right now. I'm like, we're on the cusp of something, and I'm not going to keep trying to work in these old avenues that can cause these trigger frustrations, because we're on the cusp of something brand new. And I want to be a part of that. I want to look ahead and learn and research and speak in that manner.
And we're doing it right now. This is it.
I think this is old too. Meaning the Google chats. I think we've got a better way.
Yeah. No,
yes, you're saying yes.
Yes.
But the getting together and continuing to communicate on the regular and create like a think tank of, we're holding space for each other, allowing each other to verbalize and communicate, and we're learning from each other. And that ritual, like this is what I always say, evolutionarily, humanity has grown by creating ritual and habit and doing the same thing over and over and over and over. And that's when the new idea pops out. Like, let me try something different after you've really like focused on commitment and ritual and patience and coming back over and over. So yes, I do see the new coming out of that. I wanted to just share real quick before we move on from triggers, because in my contract that I created with my coach, I agree to do unto others as I would have them do unto me, that I'll do my best when I see someone in pain to assist without being triggered. I will have empathy and be omni-considerate and seek counsel from all sides. And first, I will seek to understand myself and my emotional complex in regards to the event before speaking, and I will discern with my higher self. So,
That's
Can
great.
you send that to me? I want to sign.
Yeah.
I want
Okay.
that.
Share it.
yeah. So I think that that's the new. It's creating a contract around the old, creating a very, very firm structure around the old so that you know, I can't go this way, I can't go that way. Where can I go? And so, you know, leading with love is that kind of, it's the place to find the third option. You know, it's not take it or leave it. It's not this or that. It's not black or white. There's other solutions. Yes, I haven't, it's still scribbles, so I'll write it up and I'll get it to all you ladies.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Excellent. Thank you all.
All right. Any new mood plans?
Just
Any
planting seeds.
Plans?
I've been working on my ritual. I got it all set out already. That's what I was doing today. Just kind of really sticking with the plan. One step, one action step in front of the other.
Some good meditation.
Yes.
You know what I feel called to do is, and it relates with what you were just sharing, Mo, about the helping others in pain without getting triggered. Because I'm at my boyfriend's place right now, and he's not home yet. But he had a really rough day at work, and when I talked to him, I could feel his fire. I could feel how annoyed and angry he was, and I immediately got like ouch, like I felt the ouch. And I was able to process through it and be like, okay, this has nothing to do with me. I talked to myself in the mirror and I was like, it has nothing to do with you. Everything's fine. What feels resonant to me for what to do for this new moon, or at least for tonight, is turn my phone off when he gets home, turn my phone off and give him my undivided attention. Even if it's sitting here watching silly TV, whatever it is that he might need, and just work on listening rather than seek to understand rather than try to be understood, if that makes sense. That feels resonant to me. And then I want to take a bath, and it's going to be awesome, and lavender's in it. And then I might get a little crazy and have the sexy time. That might happen. I'm just, you know.
At least someone is.
So that's my for my new moon ceremony.
Sounds awesome.
Yes.
Mo, anything?
Well, I mean, I have a whole bunch of seeds still to plant, and I have been planting them for the past few days. And I've been doing a, dusk meditation in the blue light. And, using my medicine Buddha mantra that I received with 500 other people from the Dalai Lama. And it's been a huge, lesson in duality. And so I love to do the mantra in the blue light. And because I've done so much intellectual work in that session, where I am right now is doing the opposite. So I feel like I had my foot on the gas pedal, like super hard, and I pushed myself. And so now I'm on the other side of that, just kind of in receiving mode, and just probably going to do a very quiet, meditation where I focus on my mind being a basket full of holes and water dripping down on my head, and literally just let it go, kind of thing. just see what comes afterwards. Because that was my commitment was, we were talking in our little group. Well, what about if we give like 11 minutes to meditation or some type of practice? Remember we were talking about that?
Right.
So that's what I've been doing every day is setting that practice and doing quiet meditation until something bubbles up. And then I open my eyes and I scribble down a note, and then I close my eyes again, go back into my thoughts, and then write more. So I'll just continue to do that.
Nice.
Sounds good.
Well, the height of the new moon, wait, where is it? It's at 3:45 p.m. tomorrow.
Right.
So we have until that same time Thursday. We have lots of time for some really good new moon work.
Yeah. Hi, baby.
You see,
Puppy.
here, she's nosy.
Oh,
So pretty.
She thought the blue lace agate. She thought it was food.
nope.
Yeah, she'll eat it.
Hey, baby.
All right. Well, ladies, wonderful.
Yes, so nice to see you as always.
Yep.
So good to be with you all until this time next month.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm sure lots of times in between, but
Of course.
meet you here same time and next month.
Sounds good.
All right. Happy new moon.
Happy New
Bye, lady.
Moon.